This week's reading and lectures really prompted me to think about the environmental aspect of emotions and fear responses and the way that the situations that we experience impact our reactions and our instincts when something like that happens again. In Deep Survival, it talked a lot about the primary and secondary emotion, and that primary emotion could be something like fear, but the secondary emotion could be, your response to it. So, for example, the ranger that went rafting, he had all of that intense training, and that created an emotional bookmark that put him in a mindset where when he experienced a dangerous survival situation when he was rafting, he thought he had it because he had been through intense situations and his instinct was to snap into action and handle it. But then pushing away the help that he could have gotten ended up leading him into, a situation where he died because that secondary emotion gave him confidence, but it wasn't enough for the situation. So I think that understanding your downfalls is a really big part of mental survival. Understanding your body and what you feel and kind of those physical reactions that tell you what you're feeling. So, for fear, when your heart is pounding or if you feel tingling through your body, there's a lot of different ways that we manifest fear physically. And I think it's important to kind of just know what your body does in those emotions and those feelings. Even though, again, we don't know what we don't know. So it's not possible to know everything for every situation. I think that my job and the way that I have grown up have prepared me a lot mentally for survival. I have grown up in a house with a mom who was raised in a military household, so she has always taught me to kind of be prepared for anything. She's taught me to always survey a situation and think about all the possibilities, think 5 steps ahead. What do you need? What can you do? What could happen? Things like that. So I think that always being on guard is something that would help me to be to mentally survive. And also my job, because I work with kids with autism, and sometimes that comes with really intense and challenging behaviors. So there have been situations where I am working with a client that is kicking me and hitting me and biting and pulling my hair. And it's really important in those situations for us as the RBT to be able to put our emotions aside and to overcome that primary emotion of fear or even anger sometimes, because when you're getting hit, you'll feel angry. But it's really important to put those emotions aside and to be able to look at the situation and say, okay, these are all the things around me, so that I can make sure that I don't get hurt and that my client doesn't get hurt. So I think that having that foundation of, understanding what's going on and to just kind of overpower that fear or those primary emotions is something that would be really helpful for mental survival. In terms of physical survival, I do go to the gym, but quite honestly, not as often as I would like, which really ties back into the idea of work-life balance, because I am somebody that focuses all of my time and energy on my work and my education, and that leaves very little time for me to prioritize myself and to have a social life and even a good sleep schedule. I don't sleep very much, and I spend a lot of my time just doing school and work, and I don't spend a lot of time giving myself the outlets that I probably should. And I think that that's something I need to work on, is to have a better balance between doing the things I need to do and doing the things that I want to do. So with my new position coming up, it comes with a change in my hours because I will be transitioning into a supervisor role. So I will be working more hours, and I think it's going to become even more crucial for me to have that balance and to understand, what I need to do. I know that I'll be working 7:30 to 5, 3 days a week, 9 to 5 one day a week, and 9 to 2. So I just really need to plan out when I'll be doing my assignments, making sure that I'm getting my work done at work and I'm not having to take that home, just to really keep those separate. And my plan for getting there is I actually just bought this really big notebook. I have all of these folders, and I have really an organized setup ready to go so that I can really write everything out, and I can make myself to-do lists and just really keep myself on track. And that way I'm keeping work at work. I can come home, I can work on school, and then I will be able to make time for myself. So I always, I think that understanding my downfalls is something that is going to be really helpful for my future, because I know that I am kind of OCD about my schedule. I know that I don't like things to change, so I need to work on my flexibility. And I also know that when I sit down and I let myself take a break when I'm on a roll, that it's really hard for me to get back up. So understanding my motivation and my patterns is another thing that is going to be really important for mental survival. Thank you.